Thank you so much for joining our webinar. Welcome. Today's webinar is being conducted under My Safe Spaces. I'm Amukha Agarwal, your host for today. I'm a psychologist by profession, and currently I'm the director of SWISS program and MSS lab at My Safe Spaces. And today we are here to talk about two tiers of SWISS, which is SWISS Lite and SWISS Bridge. And a little bit about My Safe Spaces. So, My Safe Spaces is an organization that is currently running a pan India movement towards student well being. And it is being done under SWISS program, which stands for Student Wellness and Institutional Safety Standard. The idea is to help schools and colleges, like institutions, to transform their whole ecosystem into something more safer and where well being is addressed more actively. And we are doing this by bridging the gap between technology and human care. SWISS program bridges on four pillars: accessibility around mental health awareness, capacity building, and compliance. So before I dig into more and I talk about SWISS more, we will start with a small poll. The first question says that, do you know a school around you that doesn't have a school counselor or any well-being initiative in place at this time? A yes or a no. The second is about how many of you believe that every school should have a school counselor? Yes, not sure, or no. And lastly, how many of you believe that schools should do more towards student well-being than how much we are doing in today's time? Around 66% of you know a school around you that doesn't have a school counselor in place. Around 97% of you believe that we should have a school counselor. And 97% of you believe that we need to do more towards student well-being. I think the numbers say it all. Thank you so much for participating in this poll. And that brings us to why we are here today. So, under SWISS program, which stands for Student Wellness and Institutional Safety Standard, we are also trying to address this gap that we have in our society. I think we all are on the same page. Through this poll, we also recognize that how in India, there's still a lot of gap between awareness and actionable interventions. We, at this point, know that we need school counseling, we know well-being initiatives, but little is being done around it. We are still, you know, very far away from that sort of awareness and implementation. So, what is the need ahead of us? Firstly, let's address the growing crisis in students' mental health well-being. According to NCRB report 2023, more than 13,892 students have committed suicide in that year. And we also know that a lot of numbers go unreported. That is the level of mental health crisis that these students are going through. Even 44% teachers report extreme burnout, which definitely impacts the student well-being and the entire institution's well-being as well, including the well-being of the teachers. We also ran a survey with parents where 70% of parents surveyed lack of confidence in teachers in identifying warning signs around suicidal ideation. And lastly, 100% of parents surveyed support making structured wellness training mandatory. What I'm trying to address here is that there is a growing crisis in our society, which is around student well-being. We all know about the suicide rates. We all know about the loneliness rate. The happiness index is going low. The crisis is real. And we also know that one counselor, firstly, it's distressing to see that there are so many schools that don't even have a counselor. And whereas even if they have a counselor or one principal cannot address all these crises where teachers are also burnt out, where students are also suffering. Hence, we need to come together as a community, collaborate, partner, and address these situations together. So there are two starting points. So while we were creating SWISS program, we sort of looked around and we saw that in India, there are very different kinds of school. From tier one to tier two and tier three, every schools have their own limitations, resources, accessibility, fundings. So every school can engage in well-being initiatives and counseling initiatives at their different capacity. So we came up with 6 tiers of SWISS: SWISS Lite, SWISS Bridge, SWISS Foundation, SWISS Essential, SWISS Compliance, and SWISS Complete. Today, I'm gonna talk about the first 2 tiers, which is SWISS Lite and SWISS Bridge. So SWISS Lite is basically for those 66% schools that we just got on poll that has no school counselor at all. So where well-being rests entirely on teachers or on administration or on the principal, there is no professional who is actively working towards the well-being of the institution and the students. So there is no counselor on campus. Moving on, we have Swiss Bridge for schools who has a counselor. A counselor exists in the campus, but they work without supervision or without validated screening or reporting system. The impact is real but invisible to leaderships and hard to defend at a fraud or inspection. Talk about Swiss Lite first. So Lite plays a My Safe Spaces counselor on campus and trains a small internal team to hold well-being between visits. So a school with no counselor still has a professional presence and a starting structure. Let's assume there are certain schools who do not have a school counselor, and one of the reasons can be financial restraints. So if you hire a school counselor every year, the the cost goes up to 5 to 7 LPA, which cannot be accessible, which can be an extremely high price for some of the schools. Hence, we believe that we start small. So we have come up with the idea of Swiss Lite, where we will have a counselor who will visit your campus once a month. Or if you are going with Swiss Lite Plus, then the counselor visits you twice a month. Second step, we believe in capacity building. We believe that the teachers or the administration or the nursing staff, they should also be trained in some way so that all the burden doesn't go on a counselor. So step number 2 is where wellness leads are trained. Up to 10 staff members are trained under gatekeeping certification, and up to 15 will be trained under Swiss Lite Plus. Moving forward, third will be starter policy kit, where ready to adapt policy templates will be given to the leaderships to document the well-being baseline. And basically, we will encourage you to implement those policies at your institution. To name some of those policies, we have anti-bullying policy, staff well-being policy, student well-being policy, and grievance redressal mechanism. Now we will provide you a template. We will provide you a document with some evidences or quick actions that you can take in order to implement that policy. And we will also help you. The counselor that visits your campus will also help you implement that policy in the right way in your institution. And this also helps you with documentation at the back. Moving on, we have email crisis advisory, where a named channel for guidance when a concern arises between scheduled visits. If there is any crisis or any concern that comes up at your institution, you can write us on the email that will be provided to you, and it will be like an email crisis advisory channel for your institution. Lastly, you will also get the Swiss Aware recognition, which is like a badge on Swiss, which you can put on your website, on your brochure, share it with the parents to let them know, to let the world know that your institution has taken up this program and you are doing something around well-being capacity, and well-being initiatives are being taken place in your institution. So these are all the elements that come under Swiss Lite, and this is for the schools who are just starting their well-being journey at their institution, who do not even have a counselor in place. Swiss Lite Plus is an upgraded version of Swiss Lite, where the visit of a counselor becomes twice a month instead of once, and the trainers that are trained in your institution, the number goes up to 15 instead of 10. So, depending on the capacity of your school, the number of students that you have, your requirements and necessities, you can either go for Swiss Lite or Swiss Lite Plus. Let's talk about SWISS Bridge. Now, SWISS Bridge is for schools, let's say, who have a counselor, but the counselors are freshly new. There are no strict documentations that are happening, good screenings or screening process that is happening at your institution, or reports are being generated, or the counselor feels that they need more support in the initiatives that they are taking. So this is where Bridge comes. Swiss Bridge makes an existing counselor measurably effective. It adds accredited training, monthly clinical supervision, and validated screening, turning individual efforts into a system leadership and can and defend. Now, before I explain this, under my safe spaces, we also have a domain called Elevate. Under Elevate, we train individuals under a very rigorous, research proven, accredited program called School Counselor Program. It is a CPD accredited 60-hour program. Once a counselor is trained under it, these counselors are the ones that can be sent to your institution and under SWISS Lite. Now, under Swiss Bridge, let's say you have an existing school counselor, but under Swiss Bridge, we will provide them that course. We will provide them that CPD accredited school counselor course to increase the credibility and effectiveness of their work. They will also get monthly clinical supervision by the experts that we have in our team, followed by which your institution will get some amazing validated screening standardized tools like PHQ, GAD, and ASQ. For example, GAD stands for General Anxiety Disorder. So to measure if your student is going through anxiety, to you can sort of use these tools to screen all the students in your institution or the students that you feel are at risk. So you will be getting the validated screening tools, which you can use thrice in a year, and these will be auto flagged. How these screening tools will help you, the report can stay anonymous, and you can have a better picture of where your institution's well-being is at in the context to these skills that we'll provide you. And a report will be generated that will sort of track where the school is going in context to anxiety, in context of suicidal ideation, in context to depression. And the screening can really help us plan better well-being initiatives in our institution. Next, we will have a reporting system where quarterly principal reports will be provided to us, and risk dashboards with full audit trail will be provided to your institution, where we can sort of look and have quarterly reports that is generated by the principal with the help of school counselors, and we can sit with it, we can review it, we can see what are the risks. You will also be provided with a risk dashboard, and a full audit trail will happen. Now, to build to progress, Swiss Lite and Swiss Bridge are just the beginning steps. Moving forward, the idea is to ultimately encourage your institution to become equipped enough and trained enough, or make the well-being initiative accessible enough that you avail to Swiss Essential. So if your school is upgrading to Swiss Essential after Swiss Bridge in year two, you receive 50% of the bridge fees as a credit towards certification. That is an add-on point. Now let's quickly have a glance at Swiss Lite and Swiss Bridge. Number one, Swiss Lite and Swiss Bridge. What is it best fit for? Swiss Lite is for a school that has no counselor, and Swiss Bridge is for a school that has just one counselor. The core purpose of Swiss Lite is to establish a professional presence, and for Swiss Bridge, it is to make the existing counselor effective. For Swiss Lite, the counselor input will be MSS counselors who visit your campus monthly. And under Swiss Bridge, it will involve clinical supervision for your existing school counselor monthly. The internal capacity. Under Swiss Lite, we train up to 10 wellness leads. And if you take Swiss Lite Plus, then 15 wellness leads, and they are trained under gatekeeping training course. A little bit about gatekeeping training course. Gatekeeping is basically a training program where a person is equipped or trained enough to recognize warning signs that can lead to mental distress and even suicide. Then they are trained to sort of understand how they can respond in a situation where they are spotting warning signs in a student, and how they can refer that student to the right kind of support. How can they create a support pathway for that student? So, this training program is very efficient because it trains certain wellness leaders in your institution to recognize growing warning signs around students. It increases the capacity building and accessibility around mental well-being, because now it's not just one counselor who has to keep an eye on all 200, 500,000 students. We also have these leaders who are now trained to recognize certain distressful signals and provide right kind of communication and support to the student. So that is the power of internal capacity. Under Swiss Bridge, we will train your existing school counselor under our CPD accredited school counselor course. Now, screening and data, it is not involved in SWISS Lite, but we will provide you PHQA, GAD7, and ASQ thrice a year, plus a dashboard on which you can sort of track the reports that are generated through these screening scales, and you can have a better track on where your institution is at in context to the well-being and mental distress. Reporting system under Swiss Lite, we will provide you an email crisis advisory channel where you can definitely always stay in touch with us, write to us at the moments of crisis, and if you think you need support. And under Swiss Bridge, we have quarterly principal reports plus audit trails. Lastly, path forward from Swiss Lite, the idea is to move towards Swiss Bridge or Swiss Essential. And if you are having Swiss Bridge, then 50% of bridge fee will be credited on the year to upgrade of Essentials. So, how wellness becomes a part of the fabric? Light and bridge are not one-off interventions. Each installs a piece of permanent infrastructure so that by the time a school certifies, well-being already runs as routine rather than an event. We believe that to address student well-being, it's not a one workshop thing. It's not a one event in a year thing. We have to sort of inculcate certain changes. We have to sort of inculcate certain well-being initiatives in the DNA of our institution in order to see a holistic growth and change towards student well-being and even staff well-being. So Light or Bridge's professional presence, trained wellness leads, and or a supervised counselor, a starter policy base, and first data, leading to routine and evidence, a recurring cadence of visits, screening and reporting makes well-being a standing item at leadership level. And lastly, leading to Swiss Essential, which has 5 pillars. Now, let me also talk about our original core product, which is Swiss Essential. Let's say you want to directly move to Swiss Essential and take a more interdisciplinary, holistic approach. Now, Swiss Essential has 5 core elements. Number one, all the teachers and staff of your school will be trained under gatekeeping. So imagine the level of internal capacity that your institution builds. Second is that your institution will be provided with 10 policy toolkits, where 4 policies that I mentioned before will be mandatory, and we will help you implement those policies in your institution. Third, we will encourage you to build a wellness council committee that will be like an umbrella committee that will look into all the safety and well-being initiatives at your institution for the coming year. And they will provide us quarterly reports so that we also stay in sync and we help the council committee address certain issues more effectively when needed. Fourth, we will provide you a crisis response team in a worst case scenario, if God forbid there is a crisis in your institution, the crisis response team will be activated and we'll work with the Wellness Council Committee directly and provide the kind of support that is needed. Lastly, to retain the well-being initiative, you will all the teachers will get a quarterly workshop. The quarterly workshop basically focuses on different elements from addressing the burnouts that teachers experience to how to create a classroom more inclusive and address the diversity in a classroom to how to feel more competent in context to building psychological first aid kits for themselves and for their students. There are a lot of themes that we are exploring under Wellbeing Initiative. We will also do one workshop for your students and certain online workshop for the parents. So this is what comes under Swiss Essential, and you will most importantly get a Swiss certified badge, which says that your institution is psychologically and in context to mental well-being, it is certified, it is safe. And this badge really helps us build a better sense of trust with parents. It helps us put it on the brochures, on the website, and also let the students know that the school is doing certain things to address mental health, and mental health is not a shush shush theme anymore. We are actively talking about it, and we are actively building on accessibility and capacity. Moving forward, we also have a la carte component here. Now I've explained you certain components that come under Swiss Lite. I've talked about Swiss Bridge, but we also believe that every institution is very different. Their needs and requirements are very different. So you can also pick and we can mix and match a program for your institution specifically. So what are different elements that are available that you can pick, and you can either access them standalone or you can combine them in one of the Swiss models. So let's say you say that I just want all of my teachers to be trained under gatekeeping. Then we can also provide that for your institution, where we just come and train your teachers in gatekeeping certification. It involves one workshop, then it involves an online 4-hour paced, self-paced course with assessments and tools. Then they get a certificate followed by an ebook. And then there's a 6-month follow-up session with the teachers, because we believe that gatekeeping training cannot be done in just 2 hours. It is a process that happens. So we can provide you gatekeeping certification for all of your teachers, and it is also available in different languages like Hindi, English, Tamil, and Telugu. Moving forward, you can have the Wellness Council and Policy Toolkit accessibility, where a 5 to 7 member council committee is built. They will get a training from our side, plus your institution will get a detailed template on different policies and evidences which are research proven on how to implement those policies in your institution. Next is quarterly teachers workshop. If you're very interested in having some very effective research proven workshops for your teachers on their own well-being and on how to build safer classrooms, psychologically safer classrooms, or work on their communication or build more empathetic relationship with students. There are a lot of themes that we explore. Then we have quarterly teachers workshop. You can also avail to this service, where quarterly we will provide a 2-hour long offline workshop to your teachers. It can be also done online if that's your preference, but that's the third component. Fourth is we will provide an annual student workshop if that interests you, because if we are addressing student well-being, I think it's very important to address them directly also. So age-banded delivery for one cohort, which is help-seeking, peer support, and recognizing distress in friends. So the theme might differ from school to school depending on what you think you want for your students. Then we'll also have annual parent workshop, and we will have continuous online parental workshops that if you're interested in, you can get the access to. And lastly, we will have anonymous reporting system on a Swiss portal. So every institution who takes up Swiss, they also get a portal on which they can track the Swiss implementation. They can track who are trained, what workshops are pending, what policies are there, what resources are there. And on that, you will also have an anonymous reporting system, right? So start where your school stands. If you are a teacher, if you're a counselor, if you're a principal, if you're a head of a school, if you are in connection with schools in any capacity, then this is for you. Take a moment to reflect on where is it that your school stands today, in context to school counselor, in context to well-being initiative, in context to the burnout and the exhaustion that teachers experience, and in context to the mental distress that students are experiencing. then reflect on what are your resources, what is your capacity, what are your limitations at this point.
Is important. I heard
And moving forward, set an intention towards where do you want to start. You can start with SWISS Lite. If you don't even have a counselor, you can start with SWISS Bridge if you want to build on the efficiency of the existing school counsel and well-being initiatives. You can have SWISS Modular. Under SWISS Modular, we will customize, a structure involving all the Alcate options that we mentioned before. And of course, we also have SWISS Essential, SWISS Compliance, and SWISS Complete. This slide doesn't talk about those three because we have talked about them in the previous webinars again and again. But for you, if for someone who is joining us for the first time, I explained Swiss Essential to you, but moving forward, Swiss compliance also comprises of POSH and POSCO training, which we all know that is very important in a school environment. And Swiss Complete involves a physical audit that is also like a compliance that comes under CBSE, NEP mandates, or IB mandates. One more element that we focus on that is mostly covered under Swiss Essential, Compliance and Complete is that we help your institution achieve the complete compliance mandates that are given by CBSE or UGC or NEP or IB. We sort of have created a program that addresses all the demands from different organizations and affiliated, affiliations, and we help you bridge that gap and move towards a full compliance for your institution. Now, if you're interested, if this whole webinar even made you a little curious about this and you want to know more, you can write us on this email ID called swiss@mysafespaces.org. There is a number that is mentioned. You can give us a call on this number and we would love to assist you. Or if you just want to know more, then you can visit a website called mysafespaces.org, where you will get to know more about Swiss and even Elevate and other programs that we are currently doing. We are just a call away, we are just an email away. And it's never a harm to just have a conversation and discuss, what do you think about this program? Where do you think it can help you? How do you want it to be structured? So confirm the starting point. If you are even interested, we can start with a short discovery call to place the school as light or bridge or even essential or more. If you're interested, moving forward, we agree scope and cadence. We set a visit or a supervision schedule will be done at your institution where wellness leads and reporting rhythm will be understood. Lastly, we begin the process of implementation of this program. Any program that comes under SWIS has a duration, has a lifeline of 1 year, right? So thank you so much. That was about my safe spaces. That was a little bit about SWIS. I hope you were able to connect to it at some point, or it made sense to you, or it even made you curious at some point. Thank you so much. Now, if you have any questions, please feel free to bring them up for us.